Thanks so much for being here today. My name is Josh Fogt. I am the Public Policy Manager at Northwest Harvest, and so I spend a few days a week down here during the legislative session. And that work is part of our organization's mission to carry the fight against hunger down to our lawmakers, to engage them in that fight with us. So I'm really excited to see everyone here today on a day where you had to brave some tough conditions to get down to Olympia, or up to Olympia. And just thanks so much for everyone for being here. It's really important, I think, that we show up and we let our legislators know how important it is to help us meet this most basic need, which is food. So I'm going to talk today about our school lunch program cut that we're trying to protect. This is going to be on your blue sheet in your packet with the title across the top that says Restore School Lunch Funding. And this is an interesting one because much of the school funding that comes to school meals comes from the federal government, but a little bit comes from the state. And the state is proposing to cut the reimbursement that it contributes to schools, which is $6 million over the biennium, or $3 million a year, which translates into a little less than 3.5 cents per meal per student. Okay? And we already know that a lot of school districts operate in the red already on their meal programs. It's actually really hard to provide nutritious meals to kids in mass in schools. And so this little contribution that the state provides helps schools do more things like buy whole grain products, fresh fruits and vegetables, those things that we know kids need, those important pieces of nutrition that help kids gain higher educational achievement. One of the interesting things about school meals was it was started in the 40s because in a lot of reasons, because our leaders in our armed services were finding that their draftees and their recruits were unfit to serve because they were undernourished and they weren't developing properly as children. So Congress took note and really established and expanded what was a pilot program to school meals across the nation. And so now it's not a requirement that schools participate, but most schools do. And I'm just curious, how many folks have eaten a school meal in a public school, either growing up or as an adult? Right? Almost everyone in this room knows what we're talking about, okay? And you can be sure that your lawmakers also know that as well. They probably have a pretty common experience, even if they haven't eaten it themselves, they know what we're talking about. And they probably also know how important it is. You know, there's a real growing awareness of how important nutrition is for childhood development, for educational achievement, and in fighting childhood obesity. You know, we also know there's a real growing concern of childhood obesity in this country, and this is a real important way. You know, we know a lot of students are getting both breakfast and lunch at school, so 2/3 of their meals, or sometimes all of their meals, are coming from schools for real low-income families. So this is a real important source of nutrition for kids. So the ask is a little bit difficult, right? And we're playing defense this year. We're all about protecting what we've got. But in this one, we really don't want to take any cut at all. So what we're asking is our legislators to restore that $6 million over the biennium. And we're doing that so that our hungry kids can be happy, healthy, and ready to learn. And you know, kids are pretty sensitive. Everybody's got a lot of empathy for them, and so play on that, right? It's important that we carry that message when we're talking to lawmakers. Maybe ask if they have kids. Maybe ask if their kids eat school meals. And you know, and try to make a connection with them so they know how important it is for this funding. One of the things about this that is a little bit troubling that you might share as well is that this cut to reimbursement hits schools that are reaching the most students the hardest, right? Because they're putting more meals out, so they're getting a bigger cut. It also disproportionately impacts low-income school districts. And so we know what happens, too, when school nutrition drops. Those students who pay, you know, there are sort of 3 categories of school meals. You can get a free lunch if you're below a certain income level, a reduced price lunch at a slightly higher level, and then there's the pay category. We know that as the nutritional quality of meals drops, students who pay stop playing in the program. They start bringing their own lunch to school. Well, over the time, right, that is less resources for the district that go back into providing school meals. So it has sort of a downward spiral effect that we want to really avoid. So make sure you share that ripple effect as well. With that, I'll just say, do we have any questions on this before we go? No? So protect school meals. Keep that $6 million for the biennium. And make sure that our kids are happy, healthy, and ready to learn. Thanks.